Everybody.
Good morning.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dave Halleck, the superintendent of Cape Hatteras National Seashore. Pleasure to be with you and our park team and Stone and Line team today to tell you a little bit about the incredible progress we're making here at the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. Before I get started, this has actually been a pretty difficult few weeks for the group that we call the Outer Banks Group. I have not only the pleasure of managing Cape Hatteras National Seashore, but also Fort Raleigh National Historic Site, which is the location of the first English attempt at colonization of the New World, and the Wright Brothers National Memorial. I'm sure you've all read that we had a very terrible tragedy at Wright Brothers on Saturday evening, and I want to thank all of Kill Devil Hills, Kitty Hawk, Dare County and State of North Carolina emergency responders that helped us. This was one of the most significant tragedies that we've had at Wright Brothers in many decades, and our hearts go out to the family and friends of those that were lost in the plane crash there. I would ask that we actually take a moment of silence just to remember those that were lost. We've had some other challenges. You may have read in the news that we've had 3 houses that have collapsed at the seashore recently. But I'm just so excited for today. This is one of the bright lights in the work that we do. No pun intended. Just very excited for all of you to be here and learn about the incredible work that Stone and Line is accomplishing to repair and restore the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. Before we do that, I thought we would do introductions. And we're just going to kind of go around. I'll start. I mentioned my name already. Edry.
Hi, good morning. Edry Ortega. I'm the construction manager representative for the project.
I'm Megan Agresto. I'm the site manager of the Currituck Beach Lighthouse.
Chris Levick, Stone and Lime Vice President. Jeff Lavery, I work on behalf of Stone and Lime's operations effort.
Daniel Pullen with Virginia Pilot.
John Havel, Outer Banks Lighthouse Society.
John Bowers, I'm Free Press.
Sam Walker, OBXNews.com.
Corinne Saunders, Outer Banks Insider.
Kip Tab, Outer Banks Voice.
Joy Chris, Free Press.
Mary Helen Goodlow Murphy, the Coastal Times.
Aida Havel, Outer Banks Lighthouse Society, and the Lighthouse News.
Mike Barber, Public Affairs Specialist.
Jonathan Polk, Interpretation Supervisor for the National Seashore.
Scott Babinowicz, Chief of Interpretation.
Lindsay Gravel, project manager for Stone and Line.
Will Thomas, WTPR News 3.
Excellent. Thank you all for the introductions. I'm now going to turn it over to Lindsay Gravel with Stone and Line.
Hello, everyone. All right. I think after introductions, everyone's eager to hop right into it. I have a great update from Dan Spinella on the Fresnel lens, and we do have the full prototype installed in the visitor center, so I'm going to welcome you to come and take a look at that first. Ready?
This is really cool here.
All right. This is the prototype for the Fresnel lens. So as you can see, there's one large bullseye panel, and actually, which is not original to the original Fresnel lens of the lighthouse. All of this is one piece. This is not individual prisms laid out. So there will be 24 of these flash panels throughout the entire Fresnel lens. So I have my cheat sheet here. Originally there was 1,008 prisms in the Fresnel lens. There are 360 individual prisms above and below the bullseye in the flash panel, so that's up here and down below. The flash panel will have 72 segments and a total of 432 pieces in the Fresnel lens. Dan currently has 34 of those installed. So he's working his way through. I know we talked about it last time, but some of you weren't here. It does take about an hour per prism to install. So currently his update right now is that he's got the whole pedestal assembled. I'll show you here. So this is from the original one, but this whole pedestal assembly and the rotation where the motor is going to be hidden, that's all been assembled, painted in his shop. So right now he's really just focusing on the skeletal frame and installing those prisms. We're looking to do a mock-up testing in early next year, so springtime. We're going to be testing the rotation assembly separately from the actual lens itself. So that will be happening next spring.
So the pedestal is a replica too?
Correct. Everything, the whole assembly is a replica.
So I want to make sure I'm understanding on the prisms, how they're, so this is all one solid piece, you said?
This is all one solid piece right here. This is flash panel.
Okay.
Yes. All of these are individual prisms, and they're actually made out of acrylic now rather than glass. So that'll help the maintenance team and the longevity of the lens.
Okay.
Yes, John?
Just wanted to emphasize that originally they were separate lenses in the flash panel, but for Dan's purposes, they're doing it as a single molded piece.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions? And this is all being fabricated in Orlando, well, close to Orlando, Florida. And he will be bringing it in here section by section. It's all going to go up inside of the hoist and assembled into pieces.
And it's on time right now? It's hitting the schedule that
He's right on track.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the weight? What's the weight going to be? I mean, each individual panel. You got numbers on that?
I did have to wait. I know you guys had your little cheat sheet. It is
3,000.
Oh, thank you. It's a lot lighter than the original one because of the components. They're not made out of that original casting, so there's some aluminum and bronze involved now.
Lindsay, can you talk a little bit about the new light source and whether or not it will flash or stay on all the time, and how people will perceive the light that are offshore or somewhere around Buxton?
Yeah, so this isn't the light. That will not be it.
We've run out of money.
We're actually going to resort back to oil lamps now. So there is, I forget the name of it, it is one large light. Kind of, I wish I had a photo of it actually. It is an LED, but we did choose to go with a warmer color LED to replicate that oil lamp, and I know that there were some concerns of being too bright white. So what will happen is the light will stay on at all times, but the rotating mechanism will make it appear as if it's flashing every 7.5 seconds. John, correct me if I'm wrong.
You are correct.
That's
absolutely correct. Yeah.
And that's basically when the flash panel is in front of the viewer.
Correct. So there will be these large panels in front of the lens that will block the view of the light.
Where's Megan? Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Give a little bit of your input. What was there input between the Park Service and you guys as far as the experience with the LED?
I am always talking to the Park Service, so we did have experience with our original light we felt was too bright, and I'm quite sure they knew that, and so I don't know what conversations they've had with, in our case it's the Coast Guard, but I don't know if they ended up getting a benefit from our second installation, which is far superior to our first.
Right.
We did actually, I'm not sure Megan even remembers this, but Mark Dowdle and I, who was the prior deputy, came and spent hours with her at the top, and she gave us all the history, and we brought all the notes back to the design team before we even had a construction contractor.
Right.
So we've learned a lot from Megan and the Currituck Lighthouse.
Cape Lookout, any input as far as, because they switched to LED as well, right?
We did, and so the LED that we're receiving is just a slightly larger version, I think, of what they have. And we also had some similar comments from them and their stakeholders about the color temperature. If you've ever purchased a new LED bulb, you notice some of them are really bright white or even bluish, and we wanted to replicate something that was closer to a fossil fuel burning or an oil lamp. And so I think working with Stone and Lime and Dan Spinella, we were able to find a light source that will help to replicate that color temperature.
How many miles will be visible? About 18 to 19.
And the Coast Guard was okay with that then, right? Because that was one of the issues with, they wanted to have the correct color when they put a new light at the top.
Yeah, we actually had, in addition to many others, we got a lot of assistance from the Outer Banks Lighthouse Society, by the way, from John and his colleagues. But we had the Coast Guard as part of our design team on this project before we even had a construction contract to make sure that the specifications that were going to go to the contractor were going to meet their requirements and specifications as an aid to navigation. So we got a lot of assistance from them.
At this point, ours is an 8x3 array, right? So there's 24 specks of LED. I don't even know what you would call it because it's not a bulb anymore. Is that, so, with the heat absorbers on either top and bottom, is that what y'all's look like? Or yours looks more like, who's got the big one these days? Oak Island, the wildly big light source?
I know what it looks like in my mind. I'm not sure I could explain it. Lindsay, do you want to take a crack at that?
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Those heat absorbers are on the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
I could provide the data for it. Any other questions on the lens? In the best interest of time, we're going to go out onto the site. I'll lead everyone away and we'll start talking about the daymark removal. It gets really big.
I think we get fine.
Hey, good to see you too.
Yes. I'll tell you, and I did one thing he said, and the thing is that he made me feel just that when you an LLC, that even if they don't have like nobody's really gonna. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, and I don't understand. It's like, what thing is taxpayers are paying for this now.
Yeah, you got to do a lot to get me out of sanding.
Yes, exactly. How do we?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'd asked Mike about that. I said, do we have to wear it? And he's like, I'm just gonna wear them anyway.
With the no day mark on it. It's crazy, huh?
Oh no.
Hang on, wait for Mary Helen to get here, if you don't mind.
No rush, we're okay.
I was just thinking that it really does look like
I'm saying, it's his
does.
big brother.
I think the Park Service posted something like, yes, oh my gosh, I was dying about the dressing up as Currituck Lighthouse for Halloween. Yeah.
Perfect.
I don't know if we could switch it though. Currituck can't really dress up.
Well, I had come up with it's the Mr. Krabs. He's naked meme. So.
That's awesome.
John, I think, has put stripes on our lighthouse.
I put stripes on every lighthouse, including Price is Free.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so as you can see, the day mark, or the painting, the beautiful stripes are starting to be removed. On the north side, it is fully down to the ground. 2 panels of the base have been removed as well, and that's with that 70 psi Hydro-Quip vapor blast with the garnet media. They're starting at about 50 psi, working their way up to 70 to ensure that we're not damaging the brick. And while we're there, the brick looks to be in pretty good condition. We're not done with our assessment though. documentations I'd love to hand out. We can grab them on the way out for people to bring home, make your own little lighthouse, see how we're documenting the day mark and going to be replicating it. So I will put these off to the side for now. Thank you so much. But you can take those home with you. We thought that was interesting. Let's see. So we're trying to eradicate moisture issues, right? Removing this paint that was on it. It's pretty thick. We're going to be replicating the day mark in a Keim coating. That's the mineral coating. It'll be way more breathable for the lighthouse and allow moisture to evaporate. K-E-I-M.
A-E-I-M.
Yep. It's a German word. Yes. Yep. There are other products as well, but Keim seems to function the best.
That's a paint, is that correct?
It's a mineral coating.
Mineral coating?
Yes. Yep. So it actually almost adheres to the brick. It's a coating now, yes.
So, but there's dyes in the kind, is that correct? So that it ends up being striped?
Correct, yep. Actually, what you might be able to see from here, the black and white stripe, we did do a mock-up when we're selecting the final colors for the new day mark to be...
Behind the first hoist.
Correct.
Elevator on the scout.
Behind that blue door. What's behind door number 2?
on the left side, is that?
On
the right side. On the right side.
Correct, yep. It's a little hard to see from here. You'll get a better look when
Okay.
we move a little bit closer.
Oh, I see where it is, yeah, okay.
So those handouts that I have, that's how we're going to be replicating the day mark. But as a fail-safe, we've also installed a stainless steel mechanical fasteners every 10 feet along the stripe, just to ensure that if anything goes wrong, we have a fail-safe. So that way it will go back to where it was. In your little handout, it does mention something about the day mark shifting approximately 12 inches throughout the time of everything being repainted multiple times. I know the top has been repainted just once. I know Don can tell you more about that. So things shifted along the way. We'd like to bring it back to where it was originally as best as we possibly can, which is what Coastal Engineering has provided for us.
So Don, you painted it wrong at 76?
They painted since I painted it.
Yeah, it's been painted a couple times, so it's not just Don's fault. And like I said, we are working on our brick assessment of the lighthouse currently, and we'll have more information probably the next update. Are there any questions?
As far as, obviously this is new technology, something that you can't say 50 years, 100 years, what's it going to look like, how long it's going to last. I mean, is there any ideas as far as durability?
The durability of the Keim coating. Chris, you might have a little more information on that. They have, yeah, they do provide a 20-year warranty. The longevity of it, it adheres really well, actually. So I'll tell you that we did a mock-up of the red base, and then they went back and they blasted around that area, and they had a hard time getting that Keim off because it does adhere so well to the brick, and that was just one coating of it. So longevity of it, there's no concern.
Is it pretty big? Like does it fill in water joints and things like that?
It's a little bit thinner.
Okay.
Yeah, it is more of like just a light coating rather than the paint that maybe you would put on was pretty thick. It's gonna be rolled.
Lindsay, even though this is a modern product, it's probably more similar to the original paint because it's more of a like a lime wash or a mineral coating
Exactly.
than a newer paint coating that might be out there, like an elastomeric paint. Is that correct?
Correct. Or a thick acrylic. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yes, the white. So the interior brick will be painted white as well. And as for the interior metals, they're using a Tanemic paint. We'll talk about that in a minute. Any other questions? I will take this poster board from you, Jeff, and I'm gonna bring y'all right this way. I'd like to highlight a couple of metals that have been brought down to the ground currently. Okay, you want to stand and see my easel? There you go. Fabulous. Fabulous. All right. So a lot of metals have come off. This is proof of our progress. We are working out here. So what you're seeing here are the balusters and the handrails from the watch level deck plate area where visitors would go out onto the watch plate back in the day. The level 9 enclosed staircase has also been removed. The lintel grids for the brackets, which is, you can't really see it, but they're right here, have been removed. All of these have been assessed, magnet tested for cracks, for pitting and corrosion, and we're currently going through all analysis on all of these metals right now on the best path forward and how to preserve them. We'd like to preserve as much fabric as possible, but if replacement is required, that might be the best way forward. We're still discussing that.
Just to provide a little more explanation if possible, these things didn't look like this when they came off. They looked like the rusty end there, so then you all sandblasted to remove all the oxidation, and then that's actually a primer on there, is that correct?
Correct, yes. Yep, that's exactly right. So they used that dry abrasive blast with a black beauty media, and they removed all of this. You can see how the brackets looked originally. All of this black paint has been removed, and then they were primed.
Wait, before we stay here, can I back up to right over there and say, how are you getting your stripes drawn on?
How are we getting the stripes drawn on?
How is that gonna work?
So they're going to take measurements. We're going to establish that north line, and they're going to take measurements from there around the entire scaffolding and kind of highlight it out. So we have markers from the windows, from the doors, so they're just going to use those key points. And at every intersection point, it's almost like drawing a grid on initially, vertically and horizontally throughout the lighthouse, using that north line.
Then is that a machine or that's a hand? Like when I'm standing on the scaffolding there, am I measuring by hand?
So we have Coastal Engineering who's going to be establishing those grid lines for us in the almost intersection points as well. Yeah.
And they've placed,
We
markers.
also have screws.
They've placed markers. They've placed markers.
Steel screws as well.
For the original outline?
Yeah.
Correct.
Because it's all gone now, or the original you can't even see it.
No,
a little
it's all
bit.
gone.
Okay.
You can't, yeah,
Okay,
there's no
visual guideline.
correct.
Lindsay, going back to the metal, for those that have climbed the lighthouse before, is that actually the railing that was at the top that stopped you from walking off the platform?
That's correct. That's the actual railing. These seem to be in pretty good condition. Other metals, we've known that they need a little bit more restoration work done to them. So I'd love to talk about the beautiful brackets up on this is level 9. Right above it are those big watch level deck plates that have actually been removed over there, which you can see when we walk by them. So this is where people would walk out right above these brackets, which are holding up that surface for you to be able to walk out on. As you can see, it was in pretty rough condition before the paint was removed from it. A lot of rusting, a lot of pitting, cracking, and whatnot. These have been worked on in the past, some DevCon repairs or some filler repairs back in the day. Some pieces have been replaced back in the day as well, just like the bracket grids right up here. So what we've done is, after we stripped all the metals on it, is we did a 3D scan of each and every bracket to really assess those conditions and ensure that we're moving the best path forward. So that's what you're seeing right here, is a section loss throughout the bracket. So there's a lot of section loss down here in these webs, and kind of like in this heat map area, in this red and yellow area. The circular area seems to be pretty good condition, but this is the worst bracket that we've found up there so far out of 16.
Are you going to replace any of the entire brackets, or just what you need to replace within the bracket?
Right now we're not scheduled to replace any of these. That's a discussion that we're having with the park on what types of repairs we'd like to move forward with to preserve these. These are original to the lighthouse, so if we can preserve them.
And what does the preservation look like? Belzona, or like what for the worst case scenario, what's your best case solution?
So this is all under assessment right now. We have Quinn Evans and Silman Engineering working on, Allen Metals has done an assessment of each and every one, documenting cracks, pitting, and whatnot. And the engineer is currently doing an analysis on the structure itself to see what is necessary to fix these and to allow visitors to safely walk above them. What that could look like is a lock and stitch repair, where you're cutting out small areas and filling it back in for a crack, or a Dutchman repair, which you're taking that section out and stitching something back onto it. Or sometimes it's just an appearance where you're adding a filler onto it to add to the pitting to make it a more smooth surface.
Yeah, they actually spent all of last week kind of assessing the brackets and all the structural systems. And I think one of the challenges we've had is, what you see here is there are a lot of replacements from the 90s. Actually, 91 there's a significant campaign. So you can see on even some of these posts, many of these are replacements. A couple are original. But like, as we've been taking pieces and parts off of the tower, some of the challenges analyzing, all right, is this original or not? Like, you can see actually, like, right here, this is an original that was repaired, right? And then many of these are replacements, but we really didn't know until we were stripping all the paint out.
But how do you tell the difference?
Well, you can just tell just from the top here, right? So it's different than this configuration. And they installed all their stainless steel back in '91 to kind of hold it all together. So, and the same thing with the brackets.
So the originals were iron, is that correct?
Yeah, cast iron, everything.
Cast iron, and then the replacements were stainless
They
steel.
were cast iron,
They were
but there was
cast-
stainless steel, you know, hardware inserts.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Are any of these going to be replaced?
I think all of these are getting replaced, right, Lizzie? With bronze.
Oh, they are going to
Are
be
they-
with bronze?
The bronze or stainless?
I don't remember.
We do have a lot of bronze going,
Bronze,
going
there's
in.
a lot of metals in
A lot of the pediments are all bronze.
Correct.
Right. I think these are stainless.
I believe those were stainless. They're on the exterior. I don't know that bronze would be.
And then we
Glad
also
you brought that up, Chris. One of the things that we're trying to do is make this the best investment we can for the public. So if there's metal that can be replaced that will have the exact same look and feel as the original cast iron or steel, and we can fabricate it out of bronze, which is not going to corrode like those other metals are, then we're doing that because it'll be a better long-term investment, be much more resistant or resilient to the salt air environment here.
Probably easier to paint too.
But does it weigh much more? I'm always curious about a bronze replacement.
Good question. Edry, do you have a feel for that?
Bronze is lighter.
Lighter?
Bronze is lighter, yeah.
Okay.
Cast iron's fairly heavy.
Uh-huh. And cast iron can go any which way in terms of durability. I mean, you got to get the right. Well,
It depends.
Well,
Back
no,
in the
stainless,
day,
sorry.
they were taking whatever nails they had, throwing it in, and heating it up.
Yeah.
So now it's a little more.
yeah, but bronze is beautiful. That's all.
Bronze is
Yeah.
beautiful. That is correct.
Although these are some of these.
And the original windows, they were all brass, you said, right?
Bronze.
Bronze.
Bronze windows. Yep,
Okay.
and we are replicating with new bronze.
Gotcha.
So those pieces will not be used, or those
Which ones?
the windows you're talking about?
Oh, the windows, correct. All of the windows have been removed, and they are going to be fully replaced. All 11. Yep.
And those will go where? From there. I mean, the windows. I mean, those are originals, right? Or those
Correct.
replaced?
We've salvaged them for the park.
Are you asking where the old pieces
What
will go?
you'll what's the plan as far as some of
we
this?
have a museum and resources center, and so we'll be keeping some of these things. We might display them, for example, in the Museum of the Sea, which is the original double keepers quarters, but we'll hold on to representative samples of them so that we can talk about their history in the future.
Well,
Lindsay, is that pile part of the roof?
That's part of the original lens shelter.
Okay.
That had to be removed. We're doing a lot of roof work. We are replacing the roof and a lot of rafter repairs. Unfortunately, we tried to preserve it as best as we could, but it did crumble as soon as we looked at it.
Right.
So, and the pinnacle will be removed at some point, and it's just going to be restored. We're not replacing it, they're just restoring it, and that will be put back on. But in order for us to remove the pinnacle, they had to remove the lens shelter, unfortunately. It will be replicated. It's going
you're
back.
calling that the lens shelter?
The
What is-
heat shield.
like what's above it? Like
Correct.
What, is that
It's-
tin then, maybe?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yep. It was right above the
Yeah.
Fresnel lens
Sure,
underneath the roof.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think on the pinnacle you should just possibly, maybe it's y'all are too early, but for us it is possible that your top 4 inches are platinum. Just saying that. You might.
We've heard that.
Okay. Yeah. You might want to check it out and keep an eye on it.
Yeah. As soon as we remove it, it's going right to Ellen Metal Shop in Alabama. Yes, that's gonna be. I'm gonna put an air tag in there and track.
Yeah,
it.
you are.
Don't worry.
And it doesn't
Oh, I'm
necessarily
prepared.
matter, but when they're building Currituck, at some point they realize, even with body, that the windows they use for body are not as good. And so they decide mid-construction with Currituck and Morris Island to switch out the windows entirely. Probably not something y'all want to do just because we have better windows. But you can come look at ours and decide if you want to now before it gets too late.
The bronze
We've
windows.
spent enough time on the
Okay,
window discussion.
you're done. Okay, no more.
But actually, the reason that we have is we're trying to achieve some replication of the original look of the windows, but we also want these windows to meet modern wind loading codes and be impact resistant, so that if in fact there is a hurricane, the windows can survive that. So I think we're striking a really neat balance between that level of resiliency and also the original look of the windows. But it's taken a lot of time.
It has.
thing I'm curious about with it is it's not perforated, so I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen with a lot of rain. We've actually had to create a road between the Bucks and David
You can kind of get a closer look at the mock-up right here. It's hard to see down on the ground. I can try. It embeds itself into everything. I'll give a quick update on the oil house. It looks a little bit different from the last time you were here. The oil house, it was built in 1892, and it was originally to store oil for the lighthouse. In 1930, originally there were no windows on the oil house. In 1930, they decided to put windows in the oil house, and then around, 1934 is when the lighthouse had electricity. So this functioned as a generator shed for the lighthouse. Now it doesn't function as that anymore. So to meet historical and to bring it back to the look that it used to back in the day, we've bricked in the windows. Currently, you'll notice that the brick is pretty red. It was washed down, and that new brick is holding a lot of the moisture. So we're just giving it a little bit of time to dry out right now.
Can you talk to us about the brick replication and who did it and how we know it's soft enough and all of those?
Yes, exactly. So all of the brick has been assessed, and we have a compressive strength test that was assessed by Quinn Evans and by Silman. It is a full clay brick made by St. Joe's, and I have about 20,000 of them on site right now, and that is self-performed by Stone and Lime. So our masons have done this work.
Where'd the brick come from?
St. Joe's in Louisiana.
Okay.
St. Joe's brick. And they are the 8 1/8 by 2 by 4 1/8 custom size brick.
Any reason why there and not, say, a brick company was in North Carolina? I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I did pursue a lot of companies in North Carolina that were recommended to me, but a lot of those brick had shale mixed into them, which did not meet the compressive strength that we were looking for. So in restoration, you want to match the materiality of the brick and make sure that it's not going to cause any spalling or cracking in the future. Same thing with the mortar joints.
Originally, they didn't come from North Carolina either.
Right.
They're
Correct.
Virginia originally.
Correct. Yeah, so I did try to source everywhere local, and none of them were full clay brick, unfortunately. You look like you had a question.
No, I'm just wondering if you want to get out there so
I'm sorry? I had 8 from Sappho. I'm bad at counting. 8 from Sappho. I have 4 right now from Thorpe Landscapes. We have 5
I asked on his behalf if they would take them back.
This is mine. It is a little tight in here. Squeeze in as best you can. So this is the condition that we're currently working with.
Come on, folks.
Come on in. Get friendly.
All loud, Lindsay.
I'll try my darndest. So it is a little tight in here. This is the condition throughout the entire lighthouse right now. Scaffolding on every single level so we can get every square inch of this lighthouse. Right now on the interior we are working on exposing the landing beams on each and every level. We're working on exposing the lintels on every window and exposing the sills on every window. 2 lintels right now are scheduled to be replaced. Once we do our assessment, it could be more, but right now they do look to be in pretty good condition. We just want to ensure that the embedded portions are still in good condition. Right now what we're finding is on the landing beams, they do look pretty good, but we're waiting back on the analysis right now. What else do we have? So as you can see, all the staircase is green, no longer that beautiful red. This was all blasted and primed, as David mentioned earlier, in the exterior metal. So every single metal component has been blasted and primed. That way we can do a full assessment. With this light coating of primer on, we're able to see cracking, pitting, and any other corrosion.
When did the blasting and priming occur?
This happened around April to May, and they finished it. It started in May, and they finished it in early July.
Okay. And the paint removal was a couple of years ago, right?
Correct. So the coating on the brick has already been removed years ago. Yeah, that was not done by us. So we've just, on the interior, focused on the metals. Let's see. Where's over here? Hi, John.
Quick question. Can you define landing beams?
Yes, so on each landing, there's this, which is covered up right now, beautiful marble floors. Underneath that is a substrate, and then underneath that is almost a brick arch, which you're not going to be able to see very well from here, but a brick arch in these 2 beams on every single level except for level 8. So those are embedded about, we're finding 12 inches into the masonry structure. So those beam ends are what is being exposed. So they have been shored in place so we can do that exposure. Additionally, you see these wires everywhere. We are scheduled to replace, hold on now, where'd it go? How many 22 treads. So we're scheduled to replace 22 treads. Most of these were replaced in 2002, 2008. We are doing a full assessment on each and every component of these staircases. So the railing, each and every nut, bolt, tread, fastener, every single component of this is being fully assessed to ensure that visitors will be safe walking up this cast iron staircase. So all of these are here to shore so we can remove stair treads next to it.
Probably a stupid question, but you got a lot of plates inside and I noticed on the outside. So when you go to paint, how you gonna dismantle and paint, or are you gonna
That's a great question. Yep. So what will happen after all the restoration work is done, all of this ugly stuff, so all of these wires, plates, and whatnot will be removed. We'll be restoring the areas that it might have affected. We tried to stick into the mortar joints as best as possible. And then we'll go through to the painting. That'll be the last step. After the painting is done, then we will finish up the marble floor restoration. So yeah, everything will be removed first.
This brick art in here, is that the type of art we're talking about? And then there'd be a beam going across, is that correct?
Almost,
or beam
yeah.
going in place?
Yeah, so imagine a full landing, and underneath it, there's a beam right here, and then an arch that goes to the next beam, and then an arch that goes to the wall. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to envision it.
Why is it arched?
Stronger.
It's stronger that way, yeah.
You can see an arch there, I think, when we walk in, a brick arch under, right there.
When do you think the exterior painting will start and then
The exterior painting starting, it depends on our brick assessment in the, so right now we're scheduled to start that around springtime.
Okay.
But that could change depending on our assessment, especially on the metals. We don't want to have them mobilized and just start painting the day mark and then have to come back for the metals. So we'd like to do that in one
Do
mobilization.
things like this get replaced or just patched?
It depends. So this isn't structural. If we can preserve the historic fabric, we'd love to. So
Yep.
that could just get filled in.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
I know when I talked to Dave, when he came to visit me, he had some questions about what looks like non-mortar additions, and I see a lot of that is still there. What did y'all make?
It's really interesting. I'm not sure if that was done to give it a smoother surface. Maybe those brick were deteriorated and they had just put a parge coating over it so they could paint right over it and it would look or appear as a smooth surface. We're not 100% sure.
Okay.
There's not much documentation on it, yeah.
And I know people haven't noticed because it's so congested in here, but they used to have these big metal pieces that went up, had all the conduit on it and things like that.
Correct. The weight track used to come down to level 2, so that has been fully removed. You wouldn't see it on this level, but that was removed, and there's a large, about 20-foot section preserved for the park. So they might be putting that on display. I'm not 100%
So it looks a lot
positive.
better once it's done.
Yes, there will not be a weight track anymore. It's not necessary as the Fresnel lens doesn't require it. It will be running off of a motor. There will be almost a replica and play weight track, if you will, to allow people to crank the clockwork and to show visitors what they would have done back in the day.
How will the conduit we see here, that's just temporary for the work, or is that actually what powered the light?
That was that's original, not original,
Yeah.
but that was here, existing condition, correct, to the lighthouse. All of that will get replaced at the end of the project as well, before we paint.
And then what is your backup, we lost power generator plan?
So, that's a great question.
Well, we have like a gas powered generator.
Well, the power never goes out here.
That's a question for the park.
I got you, good one.
Yes.
Yeah, we're the internet.
All right.
I'm assuming that, and just to follow up on the conduit, I'm assuming it's not going to be plastic conduit. It's going to be more of a something more ornate or something along
Right
those
now
lines.
it's scheduled to be a metal, and then it will be painted over to match the lighthouse
Interior,
wall.
okay.
Exactly. But all new conduit and fire alarm.
Oh yeah, the fire alarm system too. You're going
Correct.
to put that in, right?
As well as in the oil house.
If you read the specifications.
Fire extinguishers.
Oh.
You get them on every level. I'm impressed.
We do have fire extinguishers on
Right.
every single level.
So
Safety is
contractors
number
have to
one.
do their best to try to blend it in.
Who wants to go on
There's
the
not a lot to catch on fire in a lighthouse.
No.
Right? You have to be full of fuel.
I know, right now
Like
we're.
electric wire and
Yeah.
break it
So
down.
is there a saying that like exterior paintings have like glass types in the
I would say so. I'm treating this.
Megan, go ahead.
John, remind me what that is behind that piece of drywall or that piece of wood over here to your right. Hold on. Okay. Yeah.
Say it again.
That's that is the.
They had sensors in here that were installed in 2019 or 20. And Jamie Lanier and her teams took measurements, and it goes to the inside cavity between this brick wall and the outside brick wall. And they were installed every second level. And that's
For
what these doors-
humidity?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
so that's what that is.
Yeah, they were measuring temperature, humidity,
Right.
and anything they could. And they have all those measurements on record.
Gotcha.
Aida, if you're staying down here, go ahead. Aida?
Give everyone a minute. We are going to head right this way. Please watch your head as you move about the scaffolding. Watch your step. Hold on to the railings if you can. Just be careful. That's all.
Gas on the right, brake on the left, no bumping.
Move slowward and no rush.
Ding.
God. Things at once.
Here, let everyone kind of pull up around here.
Okay. Right here?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I think that's the best view of the landscape we can get.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of those mechanical fasteners that we put in to document the day mark.
That's why you
Out of an alcohol and put in that.
I know.
Okay, oh, so these are the these are the
The fasteners, correct. Or fail-safe, if you will. Yes. And we can pull some people up over here as well if you'd like. I don't mind. Just be careful.
Okay, yeah.
It's hard at the base because all of this is I know. It is in great condition. Great condition. Careful.
Watch your head.
Alright, you got some people around the corner.
First time I came up here, it's like, thank goodness for that. Didn't sound good.
So it's yeah, they're working above you.
Okay.
They're just pointing. Okay. So as you can see, there's an incredible view of the landscape work over here. And then Dave, we'll get to talking about the multi-use path in just a minute if we want to focus on our landscape here. Let's see. Right now, what they're working, can everyone hear me okay? Yep. All right. Right now, what they're working on is prepping the grounds for the Keeper's Walk. So they've put in crushed subgrade. They've put in their rebar and chairs. They're getting ready to pour their colored concrete on Monday this next week. So what they've done right now is they've formed everything up. Eddie and I have verified that all the form boards are where they need to be. Coastal is triple checking to make sure that they're exactly where they need to be. The keeper stones are going to be staged along this pathway, all 36 of them, to kind of pay respect to those individuals.
Wait, the keeper stones that were at the beach?
Correct. Those keeper stones, we've been storing, hiding them away from everyone. They're going to be staged along the new pathway, so this will be called the Keeper's Walk. All 36 of them. This will allow an area for visitors to sit down in the shade, unlike the area that they were set up in, kind of beaming down in the hot sun.
Mind again.
So we're proud to be part of carrying this historical legacy and honor to challenge their incredible contribution to the lighthouse. So this is what this pathway is all about.
When will the rest of the sidewalk be?
The rest of the sidewalk will be done after the scaffolding comes down. So right now that's scheduled to happen next summer. Yep, so the next phase of concrete, after all of this, what you see down here is finished, we will be doing behind the visitor center and behind the bathrooms over there. And then what will happen is they'll rip up the concrete in the front. That's actually got to be redone as well, and some asphalt work. And then they'll be moving around the lighthouse as well. But we want to make sure all of our big trucks are coming in and out before we're putting brand new beautiful concrete down.
The keeper's quarters are going to be open though before this. Exactly.
The keeper's quarters have been, we're trying to keep that open as long as possible. So those have been open the entire duration of our construction. So we have that temporary pathway set up going behind the visitor center, leading on our new concrete path over to the front of the
I have a
Museum
question
of
for
the Sea.
Dave, but at some point will you open this up again before the construction's all done, or is it going to be kind of closed
You
off?
mean to be able to access the grounds in general?
Yeah.
We might. I think we're in constant communications with Stone and Line. Our first priority priority is the safety of the folks that are working here, and then visitor safety. So I think if we can ensure those two things and facilitate visitor access into the area, we will, but we'll have to really focus on safety as the first priority.
Hey, Stokes, Stefan.
Before I hand this over to Dave and get into any other questions, we just want to talk about a hard subject that, as you talked about earlier, your hardships with the park. There's been some issues with Hurricane Helene. It's severely affected Thorpe Landscapes, one of our big partners on this project. They were hit pretty hard. They lost one of their offices. It's completely washed away. They still don't have any internet, any electrical, any water. A lot of their employees are having a really hard time right now. So Stone and Lime just wants to share that we are in full support of them and others in this moment, and if anyone else has been affected, that we're here to help.
Where exactly are they located?
They're in Asheville. Yeah.
Didn't they have offices in Wilmington as well?
Their main office is in Wilmington, yes.
Yeah.
But they were just starting to really open up a large office in Asheville, and it was really taking off. They did everything they could to save it, but
I've still got 3 people I know in Asheville I can't get a hold of. I have gotten a hold of 3 or 4 others.
and no one could have prepared for it. They did everything they could.
But now we gotta go back and do it. Because it's 12 inches off.
As you can tell, we've mostly finished that project, at least the concrete portion. You can see that the pathway now comes all the way down the move path and comes right to the area around the Hatteras Lighthouse. And then it goes back out to the intersection all the way down Lighthouse Road to Highway 12. All the concrete's poured. There are some sections that may need to be repoured, small sections. They're also going to be fabricating and installing exhibits to help tell the story of the natural resources and the history of this area. There'll be some benches as well. And one of the really exciting pieces of this is that we have medallions that have been installed in the concrete of the pathway down the move path that explains to you basically where the lighthouse got on different days of the year. And there'll be a couple of interpretive plazas, if you will, where you'll be able to learn more about the process of moving the lighthouse. So we're really excited about that project. It's going to be a great way for hikers, walkers, joggers to experience the entire district, visit the lighthouse, have a bunch more to visit in the area. The path is generally being used and usable right now. We plan to have a bit of a public ribbon cutting on that in the coming weeks, and then we'll be having another celebration and kickoff because we're going to be building a set of accessible restrooms so that our folks coming to the lifeguarded beach and Old Lighthouse Beach will no longer have to use the chemical toilets in the area. Very excited about that. We want to thank Outer Banks Forever and many of the local partners here, including the Cape Hatteras Electrical Co-op, Real Water Sports, that provided an exceptional amount of support for the project.
It looks great. Today's the first day I actually saw people biking and walking.
It's pretty cool. There's like 2 layers and there's always little layers. Every third one.
There will be some signs. I actually think it's going to be a flashing light over the crossover point by the pond. I think those are the major additions for safety.
Good job, this thing.
Yeah.
Full bricks.
It dovetails very nicely with all the great work here. So.
And eventually, years from now, there will be
I just want to this is all the original brick, right?
Yes,
And it's in
actually
really good shape.
It's in really good shape. We're noticing that there were some areas that were replaced along the way.
Go out by Loggerhead Lanes where housing is, and
But
go all the way down to the
I'm not sure when that happened, to be honest.
I think it's wild. Every third layer is like these little ones.
This common bond, right?
Yes, that's the bond. So this is why the structure is in such great shape, is because these bonds are full bond. It's not what they would do in new construction is they do almost like this fake on where it's half of a brick. So this is a full 8-inch brick going back into
Oh, I
it.
see.
Wow.
Yes, exactly.
So is it believed this is the first time the brick has been exposed at this level since construction?
The entire.
Well, I mean the entire, but yeah.
So 1870. This is
This is the
correct.
first time. This essentially is the first time it's been exposed.
We just dusted it.
Right.
And you had a faint line.
We had a
that was
faint
shown.
line.
You could still see the black and white. So this is.
We got these screws, we had some cut nails in there,
Yeah.
but we didn't blast it all the way down there.
We're looking, what are they? Header
Just the flaky stuff.
So those
Exactly.
bricks
So we
that-
have an
are those the
extensive
ends
survey
of
to
the
do.
long brick?
We're noticing little cracking here and there on the
headers
exterior, but
Why do they
otherwise
build
it's
it
in
that
great
way?
shape. That's pretty normal for a building, especially after it's been moved, right? So
Yeah.
you can see right here that that was definitely repointed at some point.
Okay.
You can tell a couple areas.
So like, right here, has that been the original brick and they just
That looks
poured it,
original.
just mortared it in and just said, okay,
Exactly.
that's good enough, yeah.
Exactly.
So the bricks they replaced, did they go all the way and replace the 8 inches, or?
So yeah, the bricks that we do need to replace, what will happen, say this brick is cracked.
Not that you did, but what?
No, say that these couple brick are cracked, what will happen is they'll take the ones that are cracked out and then they'll assess what's behind it. So the inner wides is what you call it. I forget exactly how many wides the structure is.
When you're saying connecting
But
these
the
short
exterior
ones go that way. So that the next
wall is separate from the interior as well, which has helped significantly. There's severe interior
That was one
cracking
of
as
the
well.
almost radical things about the construction of this, that it's like a tube inside.
Correct. There's an air cavity that goes throughout the lighthouse until about level 8. So what would happen is they would take this brick out. If this one behind it is cracked, then we know we have a bigger issue. Typically, it's only just this one. So if more are cracked behind it, we'll do as much as we need to replace everything.
Well, lightning hit the lighthouse early on.
Yeah, very
Cracked the inside.
Yeah, so those interior cracks are in pretty bad shape, and we're talking with the park about potentially doing an expansion joint to allow another draft. So the engineers are reviewing that right now to see if maybe that would be helpful or not. So it's still up in the air, but the exterior, we're not seeing that same
So
cracking
both
on
on
the
the
exterior
1869
wall.
pen and ink
Which is
draftsman
great.
drawings.
I mean, this looks phenomenal.
Have there been
And
any
the way
surprises as you've been
the
going
way
through
it is
this?
on there.
The only surprise that we've noticed after stripping the paint is the existing pediments. So the pediment, that window hood above each window, we weren't aware that they were still embedded into the masonry, and they are in each and every window. It's a little bit different on each one, but it looks like they had just almost cut them off at the surface. So those are still embedded. We're meant to replace those window hoods, so we're talking about should we remove them, which is pretty invasive to the lighthouse, and if we can keep them in and keep everything watertight, then we should. But we don't know what the brick looks like behind the existing condition. So we're talking through that right now.
So
how about this, there's a hole there, would that be considered?
Yeah, so water's going to get in there and cause further deterioration. So this would be replaced.
when we saw
There's
this,
great patching material as well.
we're gonna need more brick.
It's almost like a mortar, and you can match the color perfectly. And that does an incredible job bonding to the brick. So in small areas, if there was pitting, you would probably just fill it in rather than
But
replacing
with
it.
something larger like that, you probably want to take a look at it, make sure moisture had not gotten behind it, which would create even more problems.
Correct, exactly.
Then the last thing you want to
So
do
the
is seal it so
original
the
order
moisture
was
can't get back out,
Exactly.
which would only exacerbate
Yeah,
everything.
1,260,000.
That will cause more and more
Yes,
cracking.
But a bunch of them were lost down at Hatteras Inlet, and I actually know some divers who shipwrecked. But why can't the
We have some guys working above us, and I'm not sure if anyone would like to get photos of that.
Working on what?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There's some type, yeah.
Cumulative of the variety, because if they
That's what
lost some,
originally was specified.
It
That was the bid.
that was the bid.
So right now,
You know, because
practically what
ours
we
is
have
only,
in,
I mean, y'all are 25%
we'd like it to
taller.
be done.
Starting to see where they're blasting in here.
Yeah. Runs down. I see that ending badly for me. I'm gonna go around.
I just pulled the power for
Yeah, that light's not gonna work now. Everybody's gonna be like, "What's going on?" Gives you a better view of the point out here. Doink. Yeah.
We will be exposing it from the interior.
So this is the pediment here?
No, this is the lintel. So
Yeah, that's
the
what I thought.
pediment that was
Pediment
here,
would be here.
that
Oh,
was
okay.
Cast iron roof.
So it's sort of like arc.
No.
It was like a
Cast
gabled
iron
roof.
roof.
Okay, gabled. Okay.
So this is the lintel on levels window 7 and 8. On level 7 and 8, the lintels are meant to be replaced, and then on 3 levels, the sills are meant to be replaced. But
So-
this is going to be the full-size French-style bronze window.
And is that
So what keeps
cast?
Yes.
It's all cast.
It's bronze. Yeah.
Yes.
And what would keep moisture from getting in there now? Anything? Or you just
Right now,
Is that
what we
the
have, no. So there was a lot of moisture going in and out already because those windows were kind of flown open. So right now, we're letting the building breathe as much as we can. Before the winter and rainy months come, we'd like to seal everything up as best as we can, but we'd also still like it to be able to breathe. So those ventilators and whatnot will remain open. We'll be monitoring daily moisture. We've done moisture and interior air quality analysis at the beginning of the project to see what it was initially. So that way we're testing it every single day to make sure that it's not spiking or declining too much.
And what were your sills made out of? What are you replacing a sill with? Or
sills-
what's the original sill and what are you replacing with it? I guess
The
it's-
original sill, that's all casted, but
Okay.
it's being replaced in,
Is it bronze? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure that it's bronze.
Bronze or stainless
I want to
steel.
say, I know these are going to be stainless. I want to say it's stainless. I can look.
Okay, no, it's okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, stainless, what I'm finding is like stainless matters, right? Like we had something replaced in 99 with stainless hardware and it absolutely failed.
Yes.
Right? It's got to be whatever the 0.316 or I don't speak that language exactly.
Yeah,
but-
316 stainless
Oh,
steel.
it is that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
316.
that was right.
You were-
I
you
do
were
speak
close.
that language,
You were
minus the
close.
decimal point.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, any stainless that we found on the project currently has been in really great condition.
Lindsay,
Okay.
you know, as we go up, it gets smaller. Do the windows get smaller too?
The windows do shrink.
Okay.
Oh, do they?
They're different sizes, yeah. Just be really careful here.
Yeah, that is weird. Where are we heading? Back up? Yeah.
Up one level.
Let's go, Mike.
There is.
You should see them reporting its
I'm gonna get out of the way, y'all. So this is the same order as your lighthouse, Natural cement, yeah, Rosendale natural cement. We actually manufacture this stuff. Yep. Did you?
Yeah, a while ago.
I wonder who did it for you.
I'll tell you.
Highbridge?
No.
No?
Lyman Mortar. Well, at some point somebody sent it to England and we were like, what is happening?
No, they use natural cement. We actually manufacture this stuff. We literally just finished supplying the Brooklyn Bridge with this same material, like just a few months ago.
Wow.
What is it? What's its like division? Like sand, like what all is?
Oh, the proportions?
Yeah.
I think it's like 1 to 3. Do you know for sure? Or is it
Pretty mixed.
Maybe,
It's pretty mixed to us.
Maybe 1 to 1. I think it's 1 to 1. 1 part cement, 1 part sand. Yeah, pretty sure. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure.
Right, because there's very little mention of cement, right, with us except for some. John will remember.
We found the orders. We found the orders.
Oh, good. And was it rose something? Yeah. Okay. And we knew what that was. That was a local one or whatever.
It's hard to find. I mean, we literally have these
Don't break the lighthouse, John. Don't break the lighthouse, John.
That would be
That really.
so ironic. Yeah. The whole lighthouse.
So your lighthouse should be the same material, because everything that was built in the late 1800s, all of the coastal fortifications
Tends to be that. Yeah, I have some reference to something. Now I just can't remember. Definitely in our foundation, I think. But I can't remember if there's any mention going up.
I think it is. I mean, I've been there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I do.
And then is this in a barren depth?
That's right. That's right.
Kind of thing I read was, it looks like it's
Oh, and Mania.
Candidate forum.
I'm gonna slide between you. Okay. Yeah.
no, he's just
Okay.
Am I stepping on to make that loud noise? This one right here.
for that one.
Where's
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna let everybody else go, and if y'all survive.
It's a paper blast.
The Daymark lockup is on
Water
continue
vapor
this way.
blast.
You'll see the Daymark
Real quick, the good stuff and that piece of 2x4, is that just something, what was that from?
So to
Remove the paint, so water vapor.
contain that area, they needed something to screw into. So they put that board up
Okay.
and they drilled into that so then we can have a nice
to
pocket
70 feet.
Gotcha.
for containment.
Right. Oh, okay. It was for the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys continue this way, there is
Okay.
the Daymark lockup.
Ted. Continue to.
It only took me hitting my head like 45 times to figure out, like, okay, there's like
Are the whites different?
Yes, they are.
So is it more pigment or gloss?
It is. This is supposed to be a whiter, and this is supposed to be a matte. This is supposed to be a little brighter.
I see. It's so funny that you don't think about whites and the differences in whites until you go to like paint your house white and you realize there's like 60 different choices for white.
Yep.
Cool. Well, Lindsay told me to make sure I looked at it. I support the darker one.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you, Dave. All right.
That's a major decision that was just made right there.
You just witnessed this.
Did you just call me decisive?
Yes.
You do not know what I'm having for dinner tonight.
And then I believe we talked about, the manual. We have these markers here. So before the day mark came off, we made sure to put every 10 feet a marker all the way down. So just in case our surveyors, miss something, or we're out here just like, tap into it. It's essentially connect the dots.
Right.
We're connecting the dots. We can follow a line. It'd be the worst if the stripes went into the other direction. It's like,
You get on with it, you're like, this is amazing.
Did it wrong, backwards.
or it would suck if it's like this used to be black and now it's white. And like,
Yeah,
did we switch the colors?
Right.
So we're gonna make sure we look at photos.
So Aida is going down the stairs.
Okay, I will take you on the hoist. Do you all want to go on the hoist?
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, I didn't want to go down. I mean,
But I can walk back there.
Okay.
So y'all.
All right, we are going down. Anyone else want to take the hoist?
Take a ride.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, everyone in, and I have to close this.
I should probably take that.
Yep.
Then you all looked at the repointing already? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, can I stand where you are? Sure.
Oh, I see.
the sound is terrific.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we finished here?
I think we're gonna gather one more time.
So they're gathering over here.
The red.
The red.
Yeah, so we talked about the different shades of black and white that was chosen for the day mark. But
Yes.
how about the red? Is that going to be? I mean, tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so exactly. This is also a Kime mineral coating. We did go through a mock-up process, and we selected over, I think, technically six different red colors. This is not the historic color to the lighthouse. This is a lot brighter than it would have been back in the day. So we're meeting a middle ground where we're trying to go more historic, which was a little bit more brown, which might be too much of a shock to visitors. So we've met in the middle where it is like a brownish red. This was hand selected by the park. Everyone voted on it, and that's the color we chose. So it's kind of an in-between.
Is that mock-up up there, is that just one coat?
Of the Kime, the black and white?
Yeah.
Yes, just one coat. Just one coat. It's beautiful, isn't it?
How many coats will there be?
They're probably going to do about 2 coats. Yeah. 2 coats.
Somebody did a good job of cutting that in.
They know what they're doing. That's Sappho
With a rollover
contract.
brick is not easy.
Better than you, 12 inches off.
That's better than me.
Yeah, right.
That's Sappho contract.
Look, I'm taking some of your work home with me.
We have to be rolling. Take it all.
Are there any other questions, comments, concerns? I hope not.
No, thank you.
Of course, yeah, we'll
Great.
let everyone out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you definitely need that.
Doing a good job.
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. All right, we're gonna get one little closing shot here and then wrap it up. Tell you what, I might try to do the selfie thing. Nah, we'll just do it here. All right, so there you go. You have taken a complete tour of work on our most iconic structure on the Outer Banks, the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll have more at samwalkerobxnews.com.